Yeah.
Yeah.
I was reading it out loud the other day. I was like, this is so
And my favorite book.
yeah.
They're all kind of really narrative books.
No, you're right.
Well, I mean, everybody wants to do narrative. Not exactly. No literary movement unified. We're ready?
When you're ready.
Are you doing this for me? And then I pass it to Constance? All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we should be able to hear you.
Okay. So I'm going to, Constance, I'm going to introduce you, and then I'm going to put this mic on you. All right? Hi, everyone. Hi. Hi. Hello. Let's start. Let's start. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are standing on the unceded ancestral lands of the Chagwaya Vitam, the people of Chagwayanga, whose present-day descendants are the citizens of the Fernandinho Tataviam Band of Mission Indians. They've been here for millennia before us, and this place will forever be their home. Historical Tataviam territory encompasses the Santa Clarita Valley, which we're in right now, the San Fernando Valley, which is behind us, the Simi Valley, which is above us, and Antelope Valley, which is somewhere else. Somewhere else. I also want to, I think you probably know this, but the Fernandinho Tataviam are not recognized by the federal government, and that means they have no legal protection, they have no legal standing to sue for recovery of their land, etc. All right. She says she slept with 90 girls. She's the same height as me. She says she's not looking for love, anything but that. She says love is weakness. She's doing this for power. She doesn't want to be penetrated, except maybe in the ass occasionally. The day I met her, we went for a drink. She told me she never comes. We'd been speaking on Instagram. She made a joke. I sent her my address. She replied, when? I said, now. I wanted to say tomorrow, the day after, because deep down I didn't give a shit about meeting, because it's exhausting, but I've learned that you have to want things, that you have to want things. I've learned that you have to say now. I think she came, but I'm not sure. Maybe she was faking it. She was pissed that I didn't have a dildo. She said she wanted to fuck me. I'm introducing Constance Debré this way because I want to kind of talk a little bit about what we call the literature of transgression. And it's an idea that started to be focalized by Michel Foucault, talking about Georges Bataille's Story of the Eye. Some of the representatives of this tradition, if we can call it, it's complicated to call it a tradition, but I'll call it a tradition, are in the American context, Kathy Acker, Charles Bukowski, William Burroughs, Bret Easton Ellis, Dennis Cooper. In the French context, Virginie Despentes, Hervé Guibert, Guillaume Dustin, who were in a way within really, you can locate them within a tradition that goes back to Jean Genet, Georges Bataille, and the Marquis de Sade. When we talk about transgressive literature, it's easy to focus on protagonists, right, who are angry or antisocial, nihilistic, perverse, or disruptive in any number of ways. Transgressive narratives do often feature these figures, but more central to this tradition is what happens in language, narrative, and structure. When rules are bent and broken, the form reflects but also disrupts the content in productive ways. Boundaries separating high and low culture are often broken. Assumptions around gender, sex, and the family are often destabilized or overthrown. Corruption, perversion, debasement, and annihilation often, but not always, result. Like all these great writers of transgression, Constance Debré mounts a social, political, or existential critique, but does so indirectly and by implication. At the core of her work is an interrogation of knowledge, feelings, and power. It's my honor tonight to introduce Constance Debré.
Thank you so much. Hi, I'm so happy to be here tonight. Thank you, Matthias. It was beautiful. So I'm gonna rediscover this book in English. So I hope I'll read okay. Well, it's yes. This when I say this book, it's Playboy, which came out in the U.S. like last spring, but which was my first book in France, and it was published in France in 2018, I think. And to me, it's like so far away. But still, so it's also very interesting to reread something you have written a long time ago, and if you still feel that it's okay, it means that you have done what you had to do, and so that's my feeling. All right. I didn't even dare use my tongue the first time I kissed a girl. That was after Laurent. I knew before, but it was theoretical. I made an effort for the second one. I stuck my tongue right down her throat. She was a model. I felt flattered, like a guy. Things were going well. I was still scared, only less so. Except it never went any further than that. Or rather, they never went any further with me. Straight girls who were vaguely questioning their sexuality, then giving up. Girls like me, only younger. With Agnès, it's different. She's 50, she's married, she has children, she's a woman. I'm married and I have a son too, but that's a different case entirely. Firstly, I was the one who left Laurent, and besides, it's just not the same. It's strange, really, the fact I'm into her. I'm not even sure she is particularly attractive. I don't like her name. I never say it. The fact remains that people don't really think. I can almost understand it with poor people, though the more I see them, the ones in prison at least, the more I think they're thinking pretty damn hard. But everyone else, the vast majority of people living more or less cushy lives, it never seems to cross their minds that one day they're not going to wake up. I can't comprehend their lives. I tried to be like them before, but it didn't work out. People get scared by the slightest thing. I get bored by the slightest thing. That's the difference between them and me. And I can't believe my luck. A woman is a very strange thing, radically different from anything else. I don't know when I started thinking that. Maybe when I looked at her lying there next to me that first morning, when she was sleeping and I wasn't. I started comparing our bodies, our breasts. I knew before that I have no hips, that my breasts were small, that I was taller and thinner than most other women, but it was just a vague notion. I stood in front of the mirror at the swimming pool to try to understand. Maybe the crawl had accentuated the outline of the shoulders and canceled out the hips. My body is me, no more, no less. It's been right in front of me all this time. I started comparing myself to her. I saw myself and I saw her and all the other women I'm not. The shoulders, the suppleness, the roundedness, all the things she has and they have and I don't. I measured her up and I measured myself up too, physically, morally. I thought a woman is something I had never imagined, something more bare, more raw than a man, something perpetually verging on obscene. That's what she made me realize. Men don't get under your skin. Maybe they don't have the same capacity to move you either, but they don't get under your skin. Yes, maybe it started the first time I saw her naked. Maybe it was later, when I saw that she didn't want to give me anything, when I felt her dry hands on my body, when I saw her with her children, slowly devouring them, her mind at rest, her heart at peace, when I realized that she prefers things to people, not even the big things, but the small things, the most insignificant things. When I understood that there was nothing she desired from the world, that's when I thought, so that's what a woman is. Soft skin and stupidity, a narrow soul that can compare with the softness of the skin, sloppy caresses, a body that can return the reverence it inspires, an animal that knows nothing of love and desire, that knows nothing of beauty either, a bourgeois body devoid of greatness, slightly dirty. It's someone who cries when they're being mean. To love a woman is to despise her. I understood the violence of men. I wonder if that's how they had always felt about us, if that's how Laurent had always felt about me. I'm rich and she is poor. That's why I'm going to win. It's inevitable. The rich always win, and the poor always perish. It's not my fault. It's not my fault if it's the rich who win. It's not my fault if I'm rich. That's how I was born. It goes so far back, it's in my DNA. I was born to rich parents who were born to rich parents. I'm rich without a dime. I don't have an apartment. Rich but living on 10 euros per day, cigarettes included. Rich without a thing to my name. So rich that I don't care about being poor. Technically on the street, but ontologically loaded. You don't need money when you're rich. You don't need other people when you're rich. You don't need anything when you're rich. It's a question of shame, and we never feel shame. Poor people are right to hate us. There is a certain age in childhood when you know exactly what you want. After that, you're no longer sure. After that, you forget. What I wanted at the age of 4 was simple. Short hair, boys' clothes, boys' toys, a boy's life. Everything down to swimsuits, wearing the same blue and white striped shorts as my male cousins in the summer. I was never self-conscious. There's no such thing at that age. The other children accepted me the way I was. I was the girl who played with the boys. I was always with them. I was their equal. That's the way it was, and everyone knew it. No one would have dreamed of giving me a Barbie for my birthday. My mother and I had a frank discussion on the subject. We were in the car. She drove fast. She drove well. She told me it was okay to love girls if you're a girl. My father took me to the flea market to buy me army clothes. He taught me to tie a tie. He bought me models to build. At the age of 4, I was homosexual. I knew full well, and so did my parents. After After that, it kind of passed. Now it's coming back. It's as simple as that. I'm not mad at her. How could I be? It's so touching when she hates me. Maybe I'm only saying that because she's so small. One night she hit me. She said she had some kind of cramp. She thought I was seeing that girl again, the model. She started talking about Laurent. She's jealous. She's stalking me on Facebook. She doesn't go as far as following me or riffling through my phone. At least I don't think so. She gets on my case about everything, about nothing. At night, she let out a sigh, then start crying. She wants me to be hers and hers only. She doesn't want me to go anywhere. She wants me to get my nipple pierced. She said it would turn her on. She wants blood-proof trophies. It's normal. She's a girl. She doesn't have kids yet, so she can't take it out on them. I'm innocent, purity itself, the definition of good. My secret is being selfish, completely and utterly selfish, for my own good and for the good of everyone else. The same goes for my son. It's normal. I'm not his mother. I'm his father. And fathers have no fear. They don't have this need to be loved by their children. So they leave them the fuck alone and let them grow up. Laurent is his mother. He's doing a wonderful job of it, though he's a bit of a mess at times. He really should tidy up his place and make a bit more effort when it comes to cooking. Maybe bake a cake for his kid now and then. Really, he'd better get his shit together or else he's going to turn his son into a fag. This is all because of Albert. It's because of her I'm talking shit. She's draining me. She's killing me. But when I manage to get some sleep, when she isn't there, I tell myself that there's no man who'd be capable of loving me that much. I'm so scared of not being able to come. It's terrifying how much it terrifies me. I don't know what I would do with the emptiness. That's why you have to be tough. You have to keep your body strong to get through the fear. Fear of desire, fear of love, all the fears. Then everything will be okay. She says she wants to hurt me. That's all right, darling. I wouldn't expect anything less, Honeybun. I've got the best position, the M in S&M. I'm the customer, the object, the one who benefits from the other person's violence. Just wait and see. Soon you'll realize you never knew me either. Who's the strongest? How far are you brave enough to go? Go on, show me. We don't need costumes, we don't need accessories. Just the fingers pitching me a little harder, her teeth biting down a little more than before, and then waiting for the next move. She doesn't say a word. She doesn't smile. She looks at me. I look at her. I observe her hatred in admiration. Please don't disturb. A girl is a beautiful thing. A girl is not sweetness, but rage. Excuse me. But there's nothing I can do for her, and maybe that's why I love her, and the violence and the anger and the silence of her desire. And that's why I never say a word. She tells me she wants to host orgies, chic ones, but she's never been to an orgy except for one time in New York, just to see, and she thought the whole thing was seedy. I like her wide mouth, the pale lips. I like it when she says, it's crazy how much I like you. It's crazy how much I want you. It's crazy how much I crave you. And when I make her come by barely touching her, and when she tells me to hurt her, and when, without asking, without so much as a glance or a smile, she unbuttons my jeans and goes down on me. And when we're walking through Paris, and she puts her hands in my pocket, and when she's angry and when she laughs and say, I still think you're cool, you know, even when you're being a moody little bitch. Do we love each other or kill each other? She doesn't speak, I don't speak. We don't tell lies. I watch her go from one to the other. I watch myself go from one to the other. I'm getting more and more tired. I want an empty fridge, and I want to flick my ash into empty cans. And I want to be in my own mess and dirt, and I don't want to speak to anyone in the evening. And I want to swim in the morning, and I want to sleep. More than anything, I want to sleep. I love her and I hate her, but maybe she's the one who stopped loving me first. I want us to take each other seriously. And if I want to touch you, I want to be able to touch you without saying a thing. And if I kill you, I want to do it without growing weak. And I want to tell you if I desire, or tell you that I don't. And do so looking you straight in the eye. And I want you to do the same for me. And when you do, I want to be able to hear it without flinching. It's funny, I never thought of my father as Jewish. But the great thing about Robert is that he suggests words to provide an alternative explanation as to why things are going so badly. For him, the height of stupidity is people asking how you are. How are you? How are you doing? How can you possibly give an intelligent answer to a question like that? Robert takes depression very seriously. He sees it as something you have to make the absolute most of. He was there this morning at La Palette with his floral shirt and that old tattoo on his arm, telling me how good his hypnotist on the Rue des Mathurins has been for everything, including Lena. And that's when he said that my father was the most Jewish of all Jews, with all that guilt, with all the guilt of the Jewish people put together. And that if he were to walk by right here, right this minute, he wouldn't be able to say anything to him, because he knows that behind the tie and all the courtesy, my father's guilt, which stems from his Jewishness, his fundamental structural essence, prevents him from uttering a single word, to the point where he's no longer even able to breathe. For Robert, when you're a Jew, you're a Jew. And the odd Catholic marriage in your family tree doesn't make a blind bit of difference. When you're smart, life is tough. And when life is tough, you're a Jew. Not necessarily in that order. I thought to myself, junkie, Jew, or dyke, it's all the same. They're just different words for the same thing. When you're like Robert or my father or me, you just have to choose one of the three and stick with it. The reality it represents is irrelevant. Deep down, being gay means nothing to me, just like being Jewish means nothing to Robert, just like being a junkie means nothing to my father. There's no substance to any of it, nothing of importance, nothing essential. Robert, my father, me, we're all doing really badly. That's how it is. That's how we were born. So we're forced to try things to try and get better, being Jewish or gay or junkie, for example. Sometimes it works for a while, sometimes it doesn't. Either way, you have to do something with the longing, the absence, the void. So what about you? Why are you gay? My friend Jibe and I decided that would be a good question to ask. No more than one sentence, please. Answer on the back of a postcard. You can swap gay for Jew or junkie or whatever you want, or just unhappy without giving it a label. I show my card to security. I get a coffee from the machine. I smoke a cigarette. I put my lawyer's robe on. A friend tells me about the case he's working on. A court clerk say hi to me. Some tourists coming out of the sun chapel ask me, "Where are the toilets?" I'm from the upper class. In case that much wasn't already clear. We even have a few duchesses on my mother's side of the family. That's why I speak like this. It's how aristocrats speak. They love it. I love it too. What you can hear is the Snowby accent, which I also have apparently. It might be because we're all bored shitless. The whole upper class, more bored than others, that we speak like this. Just as bored as poor people, really poor people, the ones from the projects and everything else. So we take it out on words. It lightens things up while we wait around for something to happen. I push open the padded door to the courtroom. The court ushers a good-looking guy. Not only is he a fag, he's also an Arab. Makes a change from the usual token highs. He lets me go first. I defend my client, hash dealer, drug trafficking. If you can call that a dealer, if you can call that trafficking. I take my time pleading the case. I go up to the witness stand. The judges listen to me. I get even closer. It's not pleading, it's telling them what they want to hear. Good guy, good school, good family. The prosecutor is only calling for a suspended sentence. Judges go out on a limb for the middle class. That's how I met Agnès. I was defending her son. Of course he got off. Middle class people never do time. I didn't think I was a snob. I thought I could fit in with anyone. Provincial aristocrats, all regulars of Le Palace, hard workers, state councillors, cops, whores, dealers, taxi drivers, students at the École Normale, undocumented migrants, gigolos, socialites, down and outs. When your parents are upper-class junkies, you get good training. My job helps too. But the petit bourgeoisie, I have to admit, was something I wasn't familiar with. No one told me it existed. I'd never come across it. Those are the people the likes of me never see. My classist instinct come out when I'm with her. When she says, "Oh, shoot," when she says, "the little ones," when she thinks she's being chic by using formal language with me, when she takes off her shoes before walking in the house. It's a French thing, sorry. Or eats her dinner early. Same. I can help it. I'm trying to stop. I guess that's also the point of love. A woman's body is made to be touched and tasted. A woman is made to be fucked. Breasts are made for hands to feel. An ass is made to be pressed up against. A cunt is made for a face to go down on, to breathe in the scent, to sleep in the tongue, the fingers, to suck and to taste, the fucking sweet taste. No man can compete with that. I understand people who go to whores. For the first time, I feel it like a sting. All the violence of desire, the desire for women's bodies, the things they say too, but maybe that doesn't matter. The same with their faces. Deep down, I feel indifferent about them, except for maybe the mouth. No man could ever have that effect on me. But maybe I'm just saying that because it's her. I didn't know sex could be this good. I didn't know it could be this important. She says the same thing. I don't know if she means it or if she's just saying it to make me happy. It's important to be polite. Albert makes me hard. She and I are only fucking. But I'm wondering if maybe I never knew love before. Maybe you can stop there, or do you want me to go on and on and on?
Were you, thank you. I think you were jumping forwards and backwards or just moving?
Oh, yeah, completely. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No order at all. But it's like as if as it's, yes, there is an order, but it's like vignettes. So also it's funny to put them in a different order because they're supposed to work in any kind of order in a way. Yeah.
Other questions? I have a question that actually came up. Oh, I can see.
Oh, yeah. Do you write every day?
I'm full of guilt, of course. So the way I deal with guilt is first swimming, which is very easy because you just go in the water and do your laps and it's done. So it's good because it's like, let's say like 20% of my daily guilt is okay, that's okay with the swimming, and for the rest, yes, it's like I have to work, and but sometimes I'm just staring at this at my computer and rereading the stuff which is in a document which is supposed to become a book, and then sometimes I don't do anything, or sometimes I just try to imagine the book or to feel something in staring at this thing. So, or just suppressing, I don't know, like 2 words or a comma, and then at the end of the day or the day after, I just put it back. Or it's like, so sometimes it's like it's just completely neurotic thing, and it's also, I guess, to me also a way to yeah, it's the way I organize my life. It's like, I'm a writer, so I swim every day, and this is what I do. And of course, sometimes I have to go out to buy some food or something, and I have like to maintain like an appearance of normal life. I still have some friends and sometimes a girlfriend, but it's always like there's always a conflict, in me. Like I also feel guilty when I do something else than that. And so for instance, it's like when I have a girlfriend, which I always say I identify as single, but I don't know, it never works. It's like I always have a girlfriend because that's life. Life comes through the window and catch you, and it's yeah. And so of course, yes, catch me. Of course, and then I always feel like there's a conflict between the girlfriend and my work, always. So, but it's, well, I try to get better on that, but yes, I think it's what I have to do, try to find this thing. And it's also, yes, I'm kind of monomaniac, I have no imagination. So no, I'm just doing that. I even read less than I used to, because now I feel guilty when I read, because no, I should, unless I know that I'm looking for something that maybe would help me to nail the thing that I'm looking for, whatever. but it's like my non-method is my method. It's like, you know.
Good. I have a question that actually came up last night at dinner, where Hetty, who who couldn't be here, Hetty Alculti, from the editor-in-chief of Semiotext, and a few of us were talking about your work, not about you. And one person said, I think Constance is also a comic writer. And then we argued, right? Some
Yeah.
people were like, no, it's completely serious, And one of my, there's two parts that you read that I want to go back to. One is, I'm not his mother, I'm his father.
Yeah.
Right? Which to me makes me laugh.
Yeah, me too.
As a reader. And also, I'm rich and she's poor, that like unbearable passage, right, about privilege also makes me, and I'm not sure if I laugh out of anxiety, right, at what's being expressed, but what is your relation to comedy and the comedic?
Well, I think I use it. I used it a lot in Playboy. Yeah, it's like because it's I don't know. I what is it? But it's like it's full of anxiety. It's I mean, to me, the first sentence, it's so funny. It's like ridiculous. It's like it came out, but this coming out is ridiculous coming out. For the first time I kissed a girl, I didn't dare put my tongue, What's that? But to me, it's hilarious. Yeah. No, I don't know. Yeah, I use it a lot. But it's like, of course, the most anxious people use humor all the time. I think it's not like.
Fascinating. Because it's not jokes, right? The humor that's there is really between what's being said, right, and kind of what's being implied.
Yes, it's really in the sentences, and it's about with the words, and it's always a way to turn dark things or horrible things, twist them. Yeah. There was this French comic actually who had this very famous quote saying that humor is the politeness of despair. A bit easy, but still, it's not completely untrue.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I wondered if it goes back to something we mentioned in class this afternoon about the first and second degree.
Yes.
That you have in French phrase about in the second degree, or something like you can take something at this value, or you can take it. You can say something, but it has another.
Well, it's not unrelated to humor. Yeah. For instance, this I'm rich, she's poor, I'm rich, whatever page. Yes, it's.
I suppose I was going to say. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
I was going to say that you also mentioned. It became apparent when you're reading these vignettes that there's very often it's a kind of turn.
Yeah.
Point. So they're different lengths. Right? The vignettes are sometimes 2 pages.
Yeah.
On the rest of the page. But there's nearly always a kind of point, a subversion, a kind of point. So you can say something and then.
Yeah, but because.
This is what love feels like, and then very few pages later, which you could be reading the other way around, like you say, it's like I don't love her, or she doesn't love me, or I wonder which, it's just undercut very quickly.
Yes, because it was also like expressing. It's like first degree, second degree, or like literature. One reason I love this thing, books, literature, whatever, is that because it can catch also the contradictions. It's like we're thinking several things in the same time, and or there is but it's not only about us. It's like there are like parallel truths about something, about a situation, about people, and even if they are completely opposite, sometimes they're all true. And so for instance, that this piece when they say that, well, I'm snob, I hate when she does that and that because I didn't know that, but yes, it's in my body, and I know that this is so ugly or whatever. But at the end, it's like that's what love is made for. Suddenly, and it's because I think it is something we all been through. For instance, like when we're very close to someone. We see things that we hate, it's like, for instance, in Madame Bovary, it's probably one of the few moments I really remember. She and her husband are, on a walk, it's a Sunday, and he's walking before her, and there's a whole description of the back of the husband. She's like, oh, she has an ugly back. Poor guy. His back, but I mean, love is about that. It's not about like, no, it's about like, oh, fuck, I hate that, it's unbearable, and still you're still there, and which is very interesting because it makes you go close to things that you don't like also, and
I love and I I love and I hate.
yeah, I mean, we know that. That's why also I don't like explanations. It could be, I mean, in books, of course, I like any kind of explanation of the chaotic thing called life. But I don't believe in novels which have one meaning. That's why I'm, always like embarrassed by, or I don't like that much literature which has too much sociology in it, or have, it's like, this is the mean people, and this is why, or no, I think more, or psychoanalysis sometimes, like, don't give an explanation. Put all the contradictions. Make the readers feel different things at the same time, which are all true. Well, I hate this character, but in the same times she's mean, but in the same times, yes, no, she's yes, and so it's different. There are different levels always, different moments, and it's like I played a lot in that book.
Talk a bit about Annie Arnaud.
Annie Arnaud.
It's a wide question, sorry.
I met her once. Actually, she was absolutely charming. Well, it was like, yeah, of course, I love her. So, but no, it's not exactly. I'm. What can I say? I mean, it's great. It's good literature. I'm not saying it's not, but it's not. It did. I'm sorry. It doesn't excite me, and I want to be excited. I want to be. Yeah, it's more. It's and yeah. I don't know. I don't like her that much, which is almost a sin nowadays in France. But yeah. I mean, I don't dislike her that much neither. It's like, but it's very personal because I'm not saying that her, position now is I mean, that she shouldn't have, should have this recognition and fame. I'm not saying that. It's just not my thing that much. I don't know. I don't even know why exactly, but yeah, because it's not about the. Again, I was this afternoon saying that I love the question of the limits. It's what interests in life, not in my personal life. I'm quiet in a way, but yes, it's in my work. When I went to law school, and then I went into a business law firm because it was what we were supposed to do. But then I quit. I went to criminal law because I wanted to be closer to the extreme positions in life and to meet people that I would have never met. I wanted to work with Raskolnikov in a way, and same in literature. I'm more interested in. It could be formal, formal explorations. Let's use a very common example like James Joyce. Well, the story, of Ulysses is like, yeah, okay, one day, whatever. But the thing is completely mad and crazy. It's like, so this kind of thing interests me. Or yes, the question of pornography. That's why we're so interested in that. Not because it turns turns me on, or it's not that. I mean, of course not. It's just, oh my God, we can. When Sade, was like this guy in jail, writing obsessively about his like completely insane scenarios, like, my God, writing can be that? Wow. So it can be anything. And that's fascinating. Or all those guys, or extreme violence also is very. Also like thoughts. It's also always this idea. So if it's to say, if you write a book, it's my opinion. If you write a book to say, mean people are mean, and no, but whatever. Yeah, some people do it with extreme, talent. But I'm not interested in that. I'm also interested in yes, the limits in every sense, like forms, but also ideas. How far? When I say I'm rich is poor and the rich, of course, I'm getting close to a limit, to something that you cannot say. And which is, unless you're saying, oh, I'm poor, and this is unfair because the rich always win. You can say things like that within the position of poor. By the way, I'm not rich, but yes, I think it's more interesting, to stand in this position of the rich and saying, yes, of course we win, which is true, as we know.
Speaking of limits and exploration, this is kind of related and not. Do you have something you're currently working on or you're excited about that you're looking at?
Yes, I have something I'm working on, because it's like my guilt thing, so I always have something. But excited about, no, anxious about, yes, very much. Well, it's close. I guess it's kind of close, yeah. Anxiety is it's the best thing, Yes, of course.
Do you want to share about that, or is that the secret at the moment?
Yeah, but it's. I wish I could, but it's like it's really, but it's. It has to do with law in a way, but with violence and bodies. Yes, very much. Yeah. Yeah. But it's a question of the limits, but very differently from not with sex so far. Just violence.
I actually had a slightly more specific version of that question, because I was recalling that you're talking about different cultures, and also notice your attention toward language in your writing. I also read partly in French for Playboy, and so I'm just curious, are you interested in perhaps working with another language in the future, or even not writing, maybe in collaboration that's beyond translation, or any chances like that? I don't know what exactly that is.
I will. Yeah. Well, the only other language I speak a little bit is English, and but it's very interesting, because another language to me, or English to me, is not as I love it because it's a bit blurry. That's why also it's one of the reasons why I love so much to spend time in the US. It's like everything is blurry, so it's like, but and you know what? And so you realize you can live in the blur. It's like, yeah, well, I can even have like a girlfriend, and we have this blurry relationship. That's fine. It's working quite well actually, and. But as for writing, no, I mean not yet, because it's really language is so physical. It's like really, it's like to me, it's like my body, you know. So and again, I know the books lose a little bit of what they are, but it doesn't matter. It's about loss. I mean, it's every reader makes her own book of the things I've written. So, but no, it's too. To me, there's, it's it's about style, path. I mean, yeah, of course. So I need to feel exactly every word, every rhythm, every color of what I'm doing so far. But maybe for other stuff, I remember having written a text for a magazine in English. Of course, I mean, there were people, correcting my mistakes and everything, and it was, I mean, I could have written it in French, but it's like, okay, let's try to do it. And that was interesting, and it was yeah, more far a little bit, but I could for like a short piece, which is not like this thing, which is my, so wow.
One more question. Oh,
I have a question in relation to this. A little bit about translation and transgression. Matthias talked about transgression when he introduced you. Before you said something like, it's a sin in France to, not particularly like any other. I wonder if a sin in France is different from a sin in the United States. And so when your work, transgressive work, gets translated into English and comes out in the US, do you feel this is a different context to transgress from the French context? Do you feel the kinds of transgressions that happen in your work are culturally translatable? Do transgressions translate? Is there something culturally specific to them? I think there's something about your sentence. I was thinking before how to describe this, but I feel like you write a non-bullshit sentence. There's something very honest, straightforward, free about the sentences that you write. And I'm wondering how that comes across in the US maybe differently than in France, if you have any thoughts on that. Because I do feel, I'm from Europe myself, I'm from Belgium, and I do feel, having been here now for quite a while, that there is a different environment in terms of, that kind of sentence, the kind of honesty that I find in your work that I really appreciate. And that I sometimes feel is almost impossible here.
Oh yeah?
So I feel that kind of sentence becomes even more transgressive in the US context. I may be wrong about that. We heard examples in the council and so forth, so there are other examples. But there is still a kind of difference, I think. I don't know how you perceive that now that you're...
Yeah, I mean, of course it's a bit different from a country to another one in Europe, and then so there are differences, but it's like, for instance, I guess the within the context of of contemporary French literature, my style, I mean, at least the one I used in Playboy and Love Me Tender, so which is really simple, like simple words, very factual sentences.
Not so many metaphors.
No, oh no, of course, yeah. is transgressive in France, the style itself. Or they don't understand it, and for instance, I guess the style is much more natural in English, in American English, at least. In England, it's an island, you know. But as for the content, if I may use this word, yes and no. For instance, I mean, yeah, again, so it's more transgressive there, and less there, but less there. So it's, for instance, I mean, this book came out like 5 years ago, okay, and it's about a woman who's a lesbian or who comes out as a lesbian in her 40s or whatever, and this fact in France, like 5 years ago, was in itself amazing. No kidding. And so I think like probably at least, I don't know, like 75% of the interviews or the critics were about that, how free it was to write a story like that of a woman having sex with other women, and even more than it was clear that it was made out of me. I mean, that I was a lesbian. So to them, it was like, oh, so wild, you know. So yeah, but of course, like. As for ideas, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess some ideas could be more shocking in the US than in France. Maybe. I mean, probably. But the ones in my books, I don't know. I don't know.
I would just say, as another European, I think that what we talked a bit this afternoon about class, the kind of class traitor. I think that's because I think what was also when I was reading reviews and things in France of your work, that it was partly okay. They have Virginie Despentes, very often talked about in context of something like Virginie Despentes, who wrote Ping Pong Theory and writes Menant sur Text and all these books about Dyke.
Yeah.
Detectives and that. But she's not from the aristocracy leaving a child. So the other thing, the story, the narrative was kind of, here's this person who has left her husband that child in order to kind of that huge transgression. So leaving
not really, but I mean
courts, leaving the law,
right.
and leaving a husband and so that huge.
You think it's more shocking in France than here?
Well, because of all it represents. Because of the law and everything. And
well, we'll see. Because I'm sorry, I'm not like but like the next book called "No" in French and "Name" here is about that. A lot. I think like about class and family and origins, how you can. I don't know.
I mean, class is perceived very differently here, and it's probably less visible in a certain way than
of course
in Europe.
But yeah, I mean,
but there's still similar rules about talking about, like sort of being honest about class, right?
And nobody can be honest about class because it's an obsession. And of course, I mean, class in Europe and France, because it's different in England, first of all. Class in France are very different from what it is here, because it's not about money that much, you can be, it's very, but yeah, I mean, it was like everyone is obsessed and angry and guilty about those questions, and so my feeling is that the narratives. First, that it's very difficult to escape this question when you write, You have to, in a way, especially if you write at the first person, to take position, to give your character a situation between those questions, and because it goes through our lives so much, and in relationships as well, love is not like, no, it's like it's full of those every kind of questions, but also those questions. It's not only bodies and whatever. Our bodies we know that are very cultural, so they are made of class, of everything. And je sais plus ce que I forget. Voilà. On prend un verre?
We can stop, and because we're going to have a reception. I think is it next door? The reception is next door. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. But just to finish, but it's like about class. No, it's like, because I think it's more difficult to talk about class in a certain way, which is not, like which is not PC, than to talk about sex nowadays.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn the lights of horror on. No?
Lovely.
Thank you.
Hopefully it wasn't too annoying.
No,
It's like